The Christian message at Easter is all about hope. So I want us to spend some time this morning remembering and celebrating Christian hope in the context of the resurrection story that we've just shared together. In that story, deep hope for the future re-emerges after all the disciples' despair about Jesus dying on the cross 2 days earlier. It's a story then about moving from despair on the one hand, from hopelessness, to deep hope and the expectation of a bright new future. The film Fever Pitch is an interesting one. If I tell you that it's all about football, then at least half of you will switch off from what I'm saying. However, if I tell you also that it is a romance starring Colin Firth, I have a feeling that you may well be with me again. But it's true, Fever Pitch is a romance all about football. It tells the tale of a 30-year-old teacher, Colin Firth, who is in love with Arsenal Football Club. He's supported Arsenal since he was a child, and year after year his team has won nothing. Now, philosophically, he always observes that there's always another season, so as each season ends with despair, he finds his hope brought back to life with the publication in July of next season's fixture list. Into this love affair with Arsenal is then pitched a new and beautiful teacher at the school, who he falls for in a big way. The two of them start a relationship together, which begins to include all the hopes and commitments that go with that. Needless to say, there's a clash between what are now his two loves, Arsenal on the one hand and the teacher on the other. It becomes a careful balancing act, keeping the two together. "Let's plan a holiday together during the summer," she says to him one day. But he is unable to commit to that because the fixture list hasn't yet come out, and he's not sure whether their holiday might clash with a home match, for which of course he'll have a season ticket. So, to cut a long story short, she goes on to point out in no uncertain terms that at the age of 30 she's grown into a different set of hopes than those that she had at the age of 15. She's moved on. Her aspirations for the future have grown up with her. He, on the other hand, she points out, is stuck. He thinks in seasons, not years, like normal people. He still longs for Arsenal to win the league. They split up. However, by chance and against expectations, Arsenal do win the league in 1989. They do so with the last kick of the season, beating Liverpool away 2-0 in the final match. His own teenage hopes are now fulfilled, which finally kicks him on into new, grown-up hopes that include a proper relationship, a family, a new home together. In the final scene, the two of them walk off into the sunset as he suggests that their new home together could even be close to Arsenal's ground in Highbury. Our hopes move and change. If I asked you to say what your hopes are today, not in the short term, but for something deeper and more lasting, you'd all come out with different things. So what do you hope for? Comfort? Peace? A quiet life? Christ promises you none of those things. Actually, we are promised peace. "My own peace such as the world cannot give," says Jesus. Something from beyond and outside of ourselves and of our world. Divine peace. So perhaps not really the sort of peace that most people crave. So, what do you hope for? Prosperity? Wealth? Health? Especially at a time when coronavirus makes us especially anxious about becoming ill. Christ, however, promises us none of those things either. There are certainly bits in the Bible that recognise the value of economic life, the need to have enough to feed and clothe and house ourselves, and the Bible habitually talks about sitting under one's fig tree. This is a symbol. It signifies a time when one is able to rest and find shade in an agrarian culture where there's no longer any threat of war or violence from the outside, and when people have been able to find the time to farm and harvest and grow and plant without intrusion. I guess that in some ways constitutes prosperity, and if you read the book of Job, you'll discover also the value of good health and the discomfort that can come with ill health. But Jesus promises that his kingdom is not of this world. The values that are held in high regard in God's kingdom refer not to money or possessions, even to possessing good personal health. They refer to the quality of our relationships with each other. If you want to prosper, then we need to focus on those things, those relationships that build us up and other people with us. So then again, what do you hope for? A career, a personal career, celebrity status, purpose that finds personal fulfillment. Again, I'm afraid Christ promises us none of those things. Becoming a disciple is certainly not a career move, even for the professional clergy. The chances of anyone gaining celebrity status are really phenomenally small. Discipleship is not geared up in that direction. Purpose, yes, we'll find that with Christ, but it won't necessarily fulfill us personally, so much as fulfilling the vision of a kingdom in which it is community that's fulfilled and built for the benefit of all. It's no mistake that the final book of the New Testament sees the construction of a new Jerusalem, a city, a space that is refined and shaped and created for more than just you and I as individuals. It's not we alone, our career, our status, our fulfillment that are at stake. Christian hope is broader, higher, wider, deeper than anything the world can envisage. In the Bible passage we read together, there is a key, pivotal moment of recognition when deep hope returns to the gospel story, when despair turns properly to hope for the first time since Jesus has died. You might wonder when that is. Is it, for instance, at the point where Mary arrives at the tomb to see that the stone has been removed? Well, no, not really. There's no hint in discovering that she's concerned about anything other than the fact that the body must have been removed. So she runs to tell the disciples, not because she's excited, but because she's concerned. Where's the body? Is it then when Peter and John go back with her, actually enter the tomb and see the folded grave clothes there? We read that Peter saw and believed. That's John, the Gospel writer's coded language for when someone's a true disciple. Characters right through John's Gospel see and believe in Jesus. So in this context too, the disciple sees and believes. Believes what? In Jesus again? That Jesus has risen? Well, yes, in a way, as John tells the story, but as hope returned too, I'm not so sure. I'm not sure that we can say that Peter and John are as downhearted as they have been, but I'm also not sure that deep hope has returned, and whatever they've seen and understood and believed has had no impact at all on poor Mary. For her, she's still at the point where Jesus has left them, and now they have no body as well. So let's stick with Mary as we trace a line to where hope re-emerges properly. Is it then when Mary sees two angels? That should have been a hint, shouldn't it, of what's going on, but she clearly doesn't recognize them for what or who they were, because she's still asking them, where is the body? Is it when the gardener turns up? Again, no, not really. She turns and looks at him, and then she simply turns away again and continues to talk to him through her tears. To her, the gardener is an incidental character, a nobody who deserves no serious attention. She's still focused on the body even now. There's one pivotal moment of recognition right towards the end of the passage we read. And the oddest thing is that it begins not with disciples seeing and believing in Jesus. It arrives when one word is spoken, Mary, her name. The key moment of recognition comes when Jesus recognizes her, when she is known and named by Jesus. That's the moment when he becomes alive to her, when she realizes that Jesus still believes in her. It opens her heart to him again. It opens her heart to hope. It opens her to life to love and a future that is brighter with light than at any time before. Christian hope is much more than a personal aspiration relating to health, wealth, career, even peace. Christian hope finds its roots in the discovery that Jesus, the living Jesus, continues to recognize us, to name us as his friends, to believe in us even as we have failed him, and to love us to the uttermost. What we are promised by the risen Christ is this, that you are known, loved, and named by God to eternity and back, that your hope for the future is secured by a God who would go to any length, to hell and back for you. If you can find that deep hope within your being, you'll also discover another promise too. You'll discover a freedom where worries about and fears for yourself pale into insignificance, where you are free to exercise a care and a concern for the needs of other people. Christian hope ushers us into the kingdom of God. Welcome, Jesus is saying to Mary in the bright light of Easter Sunday morning, welcome to the real world. Amen.